I feel like I should put the disclaimer up top. I'll probably put it in the intro as well, but just so people know.
Yeah.
My brother is Adam Horowitz.
Your brother is Adam Horowitz.
Who is
my boss.
Is kind of your boss.
He's definitely my boss.
I don't think he even knows I'm doing this today.
It's not even a little bit. He's 100% my boss.
This is a unique interview in that I was thinking this morning, like, both of us, he admittedly 100 times more than I have written for you in a way. You were very kind enough to do a little part in a project that I'm still...
Which was very fun.
That was amazing. That was, speaking of a day of shooting 9 pages in one day.
Oh my God, you guys were churning it out. I don't know how you did it.
That was bananas, but so much fun. We'll talk about that at a later date when we sell it to some huge network, which we're working on. But yeah, I mean, it's been so fun to get to know you over the years at these Comic-Cons and things through my job and through Adam. And I do feel like one of the things I appreciate, like, you know, when you talk about these reference points like Harold and Maude and stuff, is in our conversations and in reading about you, I feel like you definitely, like, I know you're a voracious reader. I know you consume pop culture. You are a consumer as much as you are.
I am an excellent consumer.
This is important.
My credit cards prove it.
So were you that growing up? Were you like from the
No,
start?
this is it's sort of new-ish. It's not new recently, I would say.
Like 2 years ago, you're like, there's this thing called the internet.
Oh my God, the interweb. It's real. I would say since college. Yeah. I had a really, in a good way, I think, a really sort of sheltered upbringing. I was raised in a suburb of Chicago, and my parents are teachers, and so I was always around books and literature. Like, that's always been a part of my life, and reading has always been a part of my life. But back then, it was more just the classics and just the stuff that you were reading for school. Yep. And I didn't have a lot of points of reference of pop culture. I actually, interestingly, last night got asked why I felt a little bit socially awkward in high school, and I said because I didn't really consume pop culture until college, and so I didn't have reference points for things. I hadn't seen the movies people had seen. I hadn't heard the music people had heard. So
why was that?
It was partly just I was a really driven student, and so I was totally consumed with all the AP classes and the calculus and the this and the that, and I wanted to keep all my options open. I was in the show choir, I was in the marching band, I was on the soccer team, I was a cheerleader. Like, it was ridiculous, and so I didn't see past any of that, you know. And my parents, because they worked as teachers at the high school, their life was consumed by the marching band and music and the high school and that world. So my life was, because you sort of become what your parents are until you start to pull away from that and find your own identity. And so it wasn't until I was away and in college, and this is a story I probably shouldn't tell, but because it's you, I will.
It's just us.
I just remember very early on in college, it was like maybe the first time I was kind of like making out with a guy in his room, you know, and he had Radiohead's OK Computer playing, and I was like, whoa.
Are you listening to this?
What is this? Like, wait, he's like, yeah, come back. And I was like, no, this is the most amazing thing I've ever heard. And he's like, right, come here. And I was like, what is this? What is this called? Who makes this? Where does this come from? Like, it was like aliens had landed. The poor guy, it was just like, oh, great. Should have put a different album on, you know? Like,
sucks to have good taste in music in that one instance.
And then it was like, you know, that was before iTunes and all this stuff. So I'm like, the next day I'm like at the CD store trying to find every Radiohead CD and trying to figure it out.
Those are the great moments, though. Everybody has that. I mean, I remember, like we all have it. Like, I remember like first watching The Godfather, like, and I'm like 15 or something, and putting that double cassette in, and you're like, why have you people not fucking told me about this?
Exactly. How has this existed for all this time without me?
It's amazing, but it's also super exciting. Yeah, because when I was reading about you in high school, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I would have enjoyed being around her. This is a type A crazy person.
No, I was, what's her name from Election?
Flick.
Yeah, I was 100% Tracy Flick. But you see me, like, these are my glasses now. I've figured out how to wear cool ones, but I'm -8 in both eyes.
Oh, wow.
I am blind, and I did not have nice ones back then. So I had terrible glasses, and I don't know. I was really trying to get A's, straight A's, and
as you say, it's a lot. I mean, your parents were teachers. Were they teaching at your school?
They were. That doesn't help either. No. I mean, the thing is, the sort of duality of it is that my dad was one of the best teachers I've ever had. He's truly extraordinary. Yeah. He was Teacher of the Year in Illinois in 2004, and well deserved. I mean, he really is one of the most extraordinary teachers I've ever had. So I wouldn't want to trade having had him as a teacher, but then not only was I socially awkward, I was in the marching band, and even the kids in the marching band didn't like me because they thought I was first chair because of nepotism.
Right.
So I really, kept my nose in a book so that
you really do sound like Tracy Flick.
I really was good at making frenemies or something. I don't know what you call it.
So when did you relax?